Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a beautiful Wednesday, the 14th of July. We're going to be working on the seat installation today in the outhouse, the roof, the front wall, and getting it off the porch and out to where it's going to be. So stay tuned. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming up for you today. We've got a whole bunch to do today on the outhouse, so let's jump right into it and get it done. Yeah! Hanging right below the toilet paper holder is a cleat on the wall that supported the backside of the seat. So we're going to have to remeasure and adjust and install a new one, and hopefully I can get one to go pretty much most all the way across the back wall there to support the backside of the seat. And speaking of the seat, here it is, right here. As you can see, age and whatnot hasn't been too terribly kind to it. I thought it had split over here and was actually missing a piece. Well, on closer examination, what has happened is the material has pulled forwards from here this way. So if I can't suck this back together and close up that gap with new cleats on the walls, we may end up having to build a whole new deck for that seat. I don't know that I want to build a whole new deck or seat to sit on in the outhouse, because that's going to kind of lose a lot of the originality of it. But the underside of the seat is an absolute mess with bracing. Let me show you what it looks like. Now this is the view from under that seat with the big crack in it. This piece here was an add-on piece to extend it, but look at this bracing under here. 2x4s, busted 2x4s, rotted 2x4s, nails poking clean through. Yeah, kind of a real ugly mess under there. So that's why I'm saying if I can't salvage that deck seat part, we're going to end up having to build a whole new seat. Hey, you caught me sitting in this chair in the outhouse a little bit ago. This is about the right height, I would imagine. So I think what we'll do is we will get some measurements off of this plastic lawn chair, transfer that measurement into here, and build the supports on the three sides to hold up the seat. And then we're going to build the front piece that goes down behind the calves of your legs. Now that I have that rear ledger board installed and attached to the back wall, what I have to build next is the wall that goes on the front side of the seat that would be right behind the calves of your legs when you're sitting down. What I've elected to build the front seat brace or backsplash, whatever you want to call it, is some tongue and groove 1x6. And the reason why I chose this was because that little pin that you can see right there slides into that slot down there on the board above it, and vice versa. So these all interlock as they're stacked. That helps keep them straight, because you can see it's got a little bit of a curve to it. Plus that interlocking action will help keep everything sliding downhill if you follow the drift. Another reason why I selected this tongue and groove for the outhouse reconstruction is it's planed smooth on one side, but the other side is just a rough mill cut. Yeah, so that's going to kind of keep in with the appearance and the look of the age of the structure. There is the heel plate installed in position above the floor. I had to look it up, but that's what that piece is called, yes, is a heel plate. There are 4 boards there. The one on the bottom ended up being real short. The reason why I said that board came up short, it isn't exactly short. It's all right there, but as you can see, it drops almost down to the bottom of the frame of the outhouse. The reason why that board drops down that low is in case there's an accidental spill. water won't flow out onto the floor. It'll continue on down. Very much like what happens with your shingles on a roof. It helps keep everything going downhill. Just like all my jokes. Yeah. So where did the term holy shit come from? It came from a poopy pope on a Sunday. Alrighty, there is the seat frame all boxed in and ready to go. These two supports, I've got to admit, was a rather ingenious thing on my part on how to get them installed. I didn't have a screw long enough to go from what I felt was through the board in the back in there. And you can see it wouldn't have caught very much of this one. So my brilliant idea was to come in between the boards like that, drill a pilot hole in this thing, and then put the screw right directly into here. So that's what's supporting those two center beams and how they got installed. And then of course on the front, there's just a pair of screws holding the front. So that's going to wrap up the seat frame construction. I don't think we'll put any supports more in here other than what we've got. This tongue and groove boards will hold the weight and whatnot all right here. So I think we're good. Now on to putting on the front wall and the door. Yeah. This is the front of the outhouse, and I have identified several boards that are totally unusable. One of which is this one right here because of this missing chunk. And this one, the hinge side of the door is missing a big chunk out of the bottom of it. The rest have bad weather checking. This is the only good one in the door, and it's quite weather checked down about 2 feet or so, or split. And this one has a split up here at the top of it and down at the bottom, which doesn't too terribly concern me. And the one on the edge here might be usable, but it does have a chunk missing out of the corner up here. The thing that really worries me though is what's going on the inside of this panel. On the 1x12 that has the splits at the top and the bottom, on the back side it also has a grouping of bullet holes here and another grouping up here. So that pretty well renders that board useless. And then you get to the doors and the hinges. They're all mangled on there with a bunch of 16 penny nails all bent over. So, and splits, top to bottom and whatnot. And this one has that big knot in it that is dry rotting and is going to come out. And that's going to be about a 4.5 inch by 2.5 inch wide hole eventually. Now, even though this 1x12 right here could theoretically be used, because when we trim the top off of it and the bottom, most of that notch or hole right there will go away. I still want something that is going to be more structurally sound right off the bat. Reason being, the outhouse is going to get moved. And the 1x12s in the front corners are going to take a lot of sideways strain. So those have to be really rigid and in really good condition. So I think we may not be using too much of these, other than I may cut them into strips and use them for furring strips or the lath, as in 1x4s, to cover the gaps between the boards like they did with these little thin ones. Howdy everybody, and welcome back to the outhouse build here on Nelson Creek Farms. It is now Monday, the 19th of July 2021. I've been away from this project for a few days due to the extreme heat. 25 or so or more days of temperatures, daytime high-wise, 95 or higher. Set a new record for the state of Idaho. And during that period of time, our overnight lows were rarely below 75 to 80 degrees. So burning up hot in the area. Hundreds of forest fires and rangeland fires burning. And today with the cloud cover, we're under threat of lightning strikes here in the area, causing even more fires. So that said, we're going to get back on getting this front done and wrapping up part number 3 of the outhouse rebuild. The first order of business today is cutting the last several boards that are going to make up the front wall of the outhouse. Once that's done, we can attach the boards and square everything up. Then we can start working on the door. Something like that. Now to drill a few pilot holes for the wood screws to go into. I have attached this 1x4 to the face of the 2x6 that holds that end square and tight with that end. This 1x4 is just a spacer to bring everything up flush, like with the door and the wall. Now this is going to be covered shortly by, I can get it up here, a 1x4 that is going to butt up against the underside of the roof boards. So I'm going to cut this off and attach it, and then we'll see how much of that is left to cover, and that'll tell me where I need to put the 1x4s for the trim down here on the door. After installing some of the trim around the door to hold all three board pieces in place, it's time to install the door hinges. Hopefully these screws won't go clear through. Now that the last hinge is put in, it's time to remove these brace boards that the door's been sitting on down here. Pull these out of the way and we'll see how the door works. Yeah, it works real easy. So what's the technical term for a pair of banana peels laying on the floor? Slippers, of course. The old outhouse door just had a piece of wood that would twist, and that's what held the door shut, which worked sometimes. I've gone a little bit one better. I have purchased a new barn door latch kit. You turn this whole looped handle, so it's kind of a loop, and it moves that little pin back inside so it'll latch. And this is the catch part that sits on here. So when you turn this, it pulls that pin back and you can open the door. Exact same thing as what's been on the old barn here at the farm for 50, 60 years. So I figured it was accurate to go on here. It's probably made by the same company. It looks like it's made the same way. So now I'm going to make some little boards for this thing to fit on, because it does need a little support on the back two screws there. And this piece that catches the latch part itself needs to have something to anchor to here on the wall next to the door. So yeah, that's my next little project. As you can see, I've already installed a block here with beveled edges. Kind of gives it a little decorative deal. There's another one over here for the main handle to sit on. I've already installed the latch catch, and I have bored a 3/4 inch hole through the door for the inside handle to attach through. I got to measuring this piece. It says a 5/8 hole in the instructions, but this thing here isn't that wide. In fact, 3/4 inch hole is plenty. And I bored that using just a standard spade bit right through there. So now we're going to mount the exterior handle, then we'll do the interior. We'll get this latch assembly lined up here with the edge of the door. Drill a few pilot holes. Just to get the screws started. And we'll change out to a Phillips bit. I do believe the originals were installed with a slotted head screw, but for today's little new addition, we're doing round head Phillips. And we'll get these put on here right now. And yes, you did hear a little bit of thunder in the background just a second ago. Maybe you did. That wasn't my tummy rumbling. Hey, look at that. That works pretty slick. Yeah, put in 2 more screws, another screw over here. The latch is done. Yeah. Now that flat, thin piece right there on the interior door handle that I'm holding, right there, that right there on the end of it, it looks like a butter knife. That goes through the hole and hooks into that slot right there. So this will go in through that hole, engage in the outer deal. This turns up here and gets 4 screws put in it, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. That holds the interior handle in place, and it pokes through right there. One of these oscillating saws, and foreseeing the need of it in this project, is the only reason why I actually even bought this Ryobi kit, because I'm going to be able to cut this for starters, and a couple of the 2x on the inside and whatnot where I can't get into it with a regular saw. Yeah, so I'm going to cut that here shortly and experiment with this, and there will be a Ryobi review coming up on these power tools, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, we're going to get started here, and I've already kind of got it roughly cut or marked out. We're going to see if we can get it cut. There's the notch to clear the inside door handle. Let's see how that works. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. It shuts beautifully and opens nicely. Plenty of clearance up and down. Yeah, that works great. That's pretty much the finished front facade of the outhouse. We have those apple finger. We have the door latch on it. We've got the 2 new hinges, all new lumber across the front of it. I've got molding across the top of the door, down the side and the bottom. I'm going to run a strip up the side covering the short pieces of the hinges on that side, and that'll help give us something to paint. And then we will put the molding pieces, or 1x4s, the battens on the corners and in between the boards, and finish that up. As you can probably see, I don't know if you can or not, it's getting kind of dark out here. We've got the thunderstorm rolling through. We've had a little bit of thunder. We've had some lightning, which we were all afraid of, because everything is so dry around here. Even with the amount of rain we have had today, that stuff is still going to burn out there in the rangeland and up in the hills. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we aren't going to have fires. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this project for today. This has been, sadly, a week in the making of getting this done. The only thing we got left to do, like I said, is install the boards on the top and give it a roof. And then we're going to place 1x4s. Grab one here. We're going to trim off the edges with 1x4s, and here in between each one of the boards to help seal it up, and so you can't peek through and see your neighbor sitting there. So anyway, this video again will only be on the YouTube channel. It won't be anywhere else. So don't forget to give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do keep them clean though, because there are kids that watch this show or this channel. And don't forget to tell your friends right down there. Hit that little red button. Subscribe. Ooh, more thunder. So even Mother Nature likes that idea. So if you would please subscribe, I'd appreciate it. We're going to try to hit 200 subscribers by the end of August. We're at 125 right now. So we're gaining on it. Anyway, as soon as we're done with the outhouse, we will be back doing a tractor move. Yeah, you heard me. 2 tractors are coming to the farm. So we'll make that happen here before too long. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and y'all take care. I'm Farmer Dave. Y'all have a good one now. Bye-bye.